Here at La Maestra, safety is very important, especially in the healthcare industry because we are mandated by OSHA. OSHA stands for Occupational Safety and Health Administration, and its mission is to help employers and employees reduce on-the-job injuries, illnesses, and deaths. And we are audited by them. But more importantly, it promotes a healthy and safe work environment. This training is intended to provide basic tools and resources from federal government agencies, professional organizations, universities, and state and local public health agencies. During this safety training, we'll discuss the most likely scenarios, which include ergonomics in terms of employee safety, communication systems, safety codes, Code Red, Code Blue, Code Green, emergency preparedness, which includes fire extinguisher training, evacuation routes, disruptions in service, severe weather flood, active shooter safety, earthquake safety, and finally, we'll discuss our incident reporting system. In terms of employee safety, we spend a lot of our time sitting at our workstation, which means that it's really important to be positioned correctly and to move regularly in order to reduce the risk of long-term health problems. Here are some guidelines for setting up your workspace correctly. Monitor. Your monitor should be 1 arm length away, with the top at eye level or just below it. Arms. Your shoulders should be relaxed, with your arms bent at approximately 90 degrees. Chair. Adjust your chair so your back is supported against the backrest. Legs. Thighs are horizontal and feet are flat on the floor. Leave a small gap between the back of your knee and the front of your seat to allow for blood circulation. Here is a great ergonomics video by the Safety Insurance Fund, which shows us how to fit the workplace to the worker rather than the other way around.
When your body's in proper alignment, you feel better, which means you can work better. It's called a neutral body posture. Your feet are flat on the floor or on a footrest. Your knees and thighs are level or slightly lower than your hips. The small curve in your lower back is supported. Your shoulders and elbows are relaxed and resting at your sides. Hands, wrists, and forearms are straight and parallel with the floor. Your head is level and facing forward.
When it comes to chairs, one size definitely does not fit all. Adjustability is the key to comfort. Raise or lower the chair height so your feet are flat on the floor. If your chair doesn't go low enough, use a footrest. Your feet should be slightly forward from the knees. Sit with your hips as far back in the chair as possible. There should be 1 to 2 inches between the backs of your knees and the front edge of the seat. If the seat's too deep and you don't have another chair, use a lumbar wedge or pillow. There also should be 1 to 2 inches between the outside of your thigh and the side of the seat. It helps to ask a coworker to adjust the seat back while you sit in the chair. That way you'll know immediately when the fit feels right. Some chairs offer adjustable lumbar support, although a lumbar pillow is an option. Make sure the lumbar support on the chair matches the natural S-curve of your lower back. If you use the armrest, your shoulders should be relaxed, not hunched up. If the armrests get in your way, lower or remove them.
Using a computer keyboard is kind of like playing the piano. The proper body posture helps prevent injuries and improves your technique. Your hands, wrists, and forearms should be level with your elbows, like this. Not this, or this. If you have a keyboard tray, make sure it's at the right height so that your wrists are in a straight line with your arms. Your elbows should rest comfortably at your sides at about a 90-degree angle. The keyboard tray should be level or tilted slightly down. This helps your wrists stay straight and in line with your forearms. A wireless keyboard offers the most flexibility. If the keyboard has legs, don't use them. If you don't have a keyboard tray, adjust your chair or desk height to get your arms and wrists in a neutral position. Choose a wireless mouse that fits your hand comfortably and keeps your fingers relaxed and slightly curved. Place it close and level with the keyboard. Remember, the palm rest is for quick breaks, not for support while you're keyboarding.
People used to think that sitting too close to the TV would make you blind. That's not true, but sitting too close or far away from your computer screen can cause eye strain, not to mention give you a pain in the neck. Make sure the monitor is directly in front of you and lined up with the keyboard. Place it at a comfortable distance for viewing. For many people, that's about an arm's length away. The top third of the monitor should be at eye level to avoid straining your neck. If you wear bifocals, trifocals, or progressive lenses, you may need to lower the monitor. A document holder helps when you're scanning between your desk and the screen. Dual monitors should be the same size and height. Think about how much time you use each monitor. If it's about the same, position them next to each other, angled in slightly. If you use one monitor more than the other, put the primary monitor directly in front of you and the second monitor to the right or left at a slight angle. Remember, both monitors should be at a comfortable distance and height for viewing. If you can't afford the latest ergonomic office equipment, there are lots of ways to work smarter using what you have. If your chair is a bad fit, a lumbar cushion can help. You can use desk risers or 2x4s to raise a stationary desk to a comfortable position. If your desk is too high, raise your chair. Use a footrest if your feet don't sit flat on the floor. Don't have a footrest? A concrete block, sturdy box, or piece of wood will do. Use reams of paper or a phone book to raise your monitor to the right height. Remember to check out used office furniture suppliers and rent-to-own options. And be sure to repair or replace equipment that becomes defective or outdated.
Because we're such a diverse organization, it is important to integrate the community into our preparedness activities. La Maestra maintains coalitions and partnerships with members of the community to leverage resources and coordinate efforts. Local partners include San Diego County Health and Human Services Agency, local police and fire departments, San Diego Emergency Medical Services, San Diego Gas and Electric, the San Diego Housing Commission, San Diego Head Start, California Women, Infants and Children, and the City Heights Business Association. Both telephone system and cell phones will be used to provide communications between the clinic and outside agencies. La Maestra has established alternative internal and external communication systems if standard communications fail. Basic telephone systems, overhead announcement paging systems, two-way radios, cell phones, text messaging, email, and intranet message posting. Employees will be provided instructions on when, how, and what to communicate via these methods following a disaster. Also utilizing the company website www.lamaestra.org, social media sites such as Facebook, and the next-gen EHR texting platform used to securely message patients and employees. Our communication plan supports communication both internally and externally. La Maestra maintains an internal contact list, including telephone numbers and email addresses. The list of staff phone numbers will be kept off-site as well as on-site by key employees and at key locations. This contact information may be used whenever it is necessary to notify staff of a threat or emergency that may impact or involve them. Our internal communication equipment includes basic telephone systems, overhead announcement paging systems, two-way radios, cell phones with text messaging, email, public relations liaison, intranet message posting. It is also important to communicate with relevant external partners to 1. Gather information relevant to the incident, and 2. Share information regarding the clinic status, activities, and needs. We may also share situational information with external partners consistent with local policies and procedures. La Maestra maintains an external contact list of phone numbers of emergency response agencies, key vendors, and resources. Our external communication equipment includes landlines, cell phones with texting, handheld radios, social media sites such as Facebook, web EOC, amateur or ham radio, the company website www.lamaestra.org, next-gen EHR texting platform used to securely message patients and employees, fax, cell phone, internet and email, social media sites, public payphones, and voice messaging. The overhead paging system is available for staff to summon assistance in an urgent situation using the telephone. Please follow these simple steps to utilize our telephone paging system. 1. Pick up the phone and dial the paging extension that corresponds with the site you are at. Example, Fairmount is 4000. 2. Once you dial the 4-digit extension, you will hear, "Welcome to the single-wire Informacast system," and then a beep. 3. After the beep, speak through the handset, and your voice will be heard throughout the clinic. 4. When you are done, be sure to hang up your handset. To avoid paging the wrong clinic, please dial the extension that corresponds with the site you are at. For questions on how to operate the paging system, please contact the IT department at extension 4357 to assist with paging issues.
This is an Informacast live audio broadcast.
One of the first things you should be familiar with are the emergency codes, and you'll see these posted throughout your site. Code Red is a fire emergency. If you see a fire, raise the alarm at the nearest pull station and dial 911 immediately. If the fire alarm is not available, notify site personnel about the fire by paging Code Red over the intercom system 3 times, and the appropriate messages will be sent to the people involved in responding to the scene. Emergency evaluation procedures. Staff should leave the building in a quick but orderly fashion using the designated escape routes. Assist patients and those with disabilities towards the exits. The duties of staff are to move people to specified areas, assist other staff when needed in moving patients and visitors to safety, and evacuate with the other staff. When possible, close the doors as you leave in order to avoid the spread of smoke and fire. Closed doors help to contain smoke and fire throughout the building. Do not use the elevators. In the Fairmount building, there are 2 stairways at both ends of the building. Please use the stairways to evacuate and gather at the assembly location located across from the clinic near the alleyway. Additionally, all LMFC departments have been assigned specific areas of assembly if an evacuation is necessary. Satellite locations are across the street in the parking lot. Assemble in the designated areas to account for staff, patients, and visitors. Once the building is evacuated, listen for additional instruction. Remain outside until the clinic manager or competent authority announces that it's safe to re-enter by announcing "All clear Code Red" 3 times. All facilities have a no smoking policy inside the clinic or within 25 feet of an entrance. Clinic floor plans with evacuation routes have been posted throughout the facility. Please take time to notice evacuation routes posted to be familiar with your building. They show the locations of exit signs, evacuation routes, fire extinguishers, and fire alarms. You should be familiar with primary and alternate exits to be used in a fire location and proper use of firefighting equipment, pull stations, and fire-related equipment within the departments. Most fire extinguishers operate using the following pass technique. P. Pull. Pull the pin. This will also break the tamper seal. A. Aim. Aim low, pointing the extinguisher nozzle at the base of the fire. S. Squeeze. Squeeze the handle to release the extinguishing agent. S. Sweep. Sweep from side to side at the base of the fire until it appears to be out. Watch the area. Fight the fire only if The fire department has been notified. The fire is small and is not spreading to other areas. Escaping the area is possible by backing up to the nearest exit. The fire extinguisher is in working condition and staff is trained to use it.
The whole deal is at a safe distance when you're approaching this small fire, you pull, aim, spray, and sweep, I think is what it is. Is that what it is, Keith? Squeeze, yeah, squeeze, spray, and sweep. Sorry, it's been 2 years since I've given the class. I'll give you all the information, it's just not as organized. Anyways, squeeze and sweep. One of the things that, and you guys will see this today, is you're in no danger of making the fire extinguisher go holding this handle, because the handle that you're holding, the weight on, isn't what makes it go. It's actually pushing down this handle that makes it go. So, you know, when you pull the pin, you're like, well, now what do I, you know, but the deal is, as long as you don't push down on this, it doesn't go, okay? So I can do anything I want to holding this, okay? And I can even have my thumb on here. It's when I push down is when the agent comes out, okay? So it's, oh, and the thing about pulling the pin is, okay, don't worry about the pin. They make pins by the dozens, by the thousands, okay? We'll get another pin, okay? So today, when you get the pin, I literally want you to pull it in one motion and just let go of it, okay? The pin is not our concern at all. We don't need to put it in our pocket. We don't need to save it for later. You got to practice it the way you're going to do it in a real emergency, okay? So the pin is not a concern. Trust me, that 5-cent pin doesn't mean anything to anybody. So we're going to pull the pin, and this one happens to be connected, okay? But basically, when you pull the pin, there's a little seal on there, and it's going to be a little bit tough. You kind of have to, you might have to go like this, but when you pull it, just let go, okay? Get your hose out, aim, and then squeeze, and what you're going to do is you're going to sweep the fire. And the thing is, again, this is comfort zone, and this is one of the things you're going to work on today. I don't care if you go, okay, I'm going to aim, I'm going to squeeze. I don't know how far this thing's going to shoot. I'm starting here, okay? And you go like that, and you realize you're still 5 feet away. Let off the trigger, get a little closer, and then start your sweeping motion and kind of move in, okay? It's okay to start too far away. I'd rather have you start too far away than be right on top of it and have something splash back on you or something like that. So everything clear as mud so far? Okay. We went over what kind of extinguishers there are, A, B, and C. Always keep in your mindset that if anything doesn't go exactly as planned, we're leaving now, okay? That's all. You have your avenue of escape. All right, who's our first victim? Why don't we start out with someone that actually has done this before and is feeling comfortable about it anyway, just so that the other people can watch. And let's get closer. Can we see what they do? Let me, I'll do a dry run, okay? Basically, I'm not going to pull the pin because that's your fun. This is sealed, okay? You're going to have to break that seal, okay? Pull this out. You're going to come up and start sweeping and get closer and closer. You're going to feel heat from the fire. I feel it over here. Okay. It's all you. There you go. Remember, just throw the pin in the ground. Okay. You're up. Sweep. Sweep. Okay, stop. Go light it again, please. The only benefit you don't get is breaking the seal, but that's okay.
Oh, it is heavy.
Okay. All right, well, hurry up if you're going to start that far back. Stay low, sweep low, base of the fire, stay low. Okay, that's good.
Oh, good.
Take the pin out and throw it out. There you go. And now you have an idea of how close you have to get to be effective, don't you? Okay, stay low. Go ahead. Okay, that's good. Just an easy sweep. I liked your invigoration there, but just a nice steady sweep back and forth. Yep. Next.
Oh, it is heavy. So if this thing is already out, it's no good then?
Right. But yeah, let's go ahead and do this. Let's get your hose out. Throw the pin away. Why are you keeping the pin? Okay. Sweep side to side at the base of the fire. Go ahead. Let's get a little closer. You go to the base of the fire. Base of the fire. Farther down. Lower. There you go. You got it. Stop. The deal is you got to get that base of the fire. You got to go low, and it's just a slow sweep, okay? Just low. The flames really aren't what's the damage. It's down at the fuel.
Okay. It made a steamy. Well, that
There you go. There you go. Grab the hose. Start spraying a little farther away and work your way in, okay? Go ahead. You got it. All right. Just keep an eye on it. Keep an eye on it. Okay. Back away. It's a disadvantage to start with a lesser than full extinguisher because it doesn't have the power.
Provision for handling emergencies and unusual occurrences. La Maestra recognizes that medical emergencies and unusual occurrences do happen and has adopted guidelines to prepare staff members for these unexpected events. A code blue indicates a patient requiring resuscitation or otherwise in need of immediate medical attention, i.e. chest pain or difficulty breathing, most often as the result of a respiratory arrest or cardiac arrest. When a patient is identified as a code blue, the overhead page takes the form of code blue to alert the designated staff team for code blue in each department to provide personnel for a code blue coverage. Employees who witness or are first on site of code blue will take immediate action, using the overhead paging system to call a code blue, summoning medical assistance, and will assist as directed. Procedure 1. If there is a medical emergency, the first person to respond will assess patient, begin CPR, and call for assistance in paging code blue. 2. Staff team for code blue will perform assigned tasks. 3. The procedure will continue until emergency medical transport arrives and takes over. 4. The provider or nurse will give report to the emergency medical transport and assist in the procedure until the patient is transported. 5. The nurse will document the event in patient's medical chart. An incident report will be completed. 6. If the patient's relative is not available, the nurse or provider will notify the emergency contacts regarding the condition and location of the patient. 7. After the incident, the crash cart is restocked and oxygen is inspected for needed replacements. 8. For medical emergencies in the dental clinics, staff will respond to the emergency and page code blue for medical assistance. Dental staff will manage crowds as well as provide support to family members. The dentist on duty will stand by for orders from the physician in charge. Code green is defined as a patient or visitor acting agitated, and staff therefore requires security assistance. In the instance of an unusual occurrence, all employees who witness or are first on site will take immediate action, using the overhead paging system to call a code green. The clinics have their own security system with a security guard visible during office hours. A code green page will summon other staff members, especially male members, via intercom to help calm an agitated patient or visitor to prevent unnecessary harm. Staff members will be trained to identify a code green as instances when a patient or visitor is agitated. Another reason to call a code green, besides dissatisfaction of service, is that a patient may be under the influence of drugs and/or alcohol. Procedure. La Maestra maintains a security guard to be visible during office hours. In the event of a patient or visitor becoming angry, and in an effort to diffuse the situation, a code green will be called on the paging system. Code green is recognized as the term used by staff members to summon other staff members, especially male members, via intercom to help calm an agitated patient or visitor to prevent unnecessary harm to everyone in the clinic. When a person becomes agitated and the staff is unable to diffuse the situation, the receptionist will page code green. The respective staff members will respond to the page, and while the patient or visitor is being calmed, other staff members will clear the area of other patients and call the police if necessary. To ensure that these policies and procedures are followed, education will be provided to all staff members to react appropriately in the event of a medical emergency, code blue, and non-medical emergency, agitated patient, code green. La Maestra is committed to best practices in providing a safe and secure approach to emergency preparedness and management. The emergency preparedness plan includes hazards which may affect the clinic most, such as disruption of service and fire and medical emergencies. La Maestra's emergency management approach considers the main health center size, 3 floors with underground parking garages. Locations: satellite clinics located throughout San Diego County. The community, culturally diverse community with 20+ languages. Patient demographic, patients with mental or behavioral illnesses, anxiety, depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, patients with chronic disease. The continuity of operations plan is an effort to ensure that primary essential functions continue to be performed during a wide range of emergencies, including localized acts of nature, accidents, and technological or attack-related emergencies. The continuity of operations plan is an effort to ensure that the capability exists to continue essential agency functions across a wide range of potential emergencies. The objectives of a co-op plan include ensuring the continuous performance of an agency's essential functions or operations during an emergency, protecting essential facilities, equipment, records, and other assets, reducing or mitigating disruptions to operations, reducing loss of life, minimizing damage and losses, and achieving a timely and orderly recovery from an emergency and resumption of full service to customers. Emergency electrical power. If the clinic's electrical power supply is compromised or unavailable, the Chief Medical Officer will determine whether the clinic should remain open. If it appears that electrical power will be resumed in a short time, staff should continue care as best as possible. If a portion of the clinic is incapable of supporting patient care, but total evacuation is not required, patients will be served in unaffected areas of the clinic that are able to safely provide services. The incident command staff works to establish continuity of operation with information technology. Chart Guard. To continue patient care during a disruption of service, LMFC utilizes Chart Guard at every clinic site, which automatically generates 3 days' worth of clinical charts for pending patients as a backup in the event of an electronic health record (EHR) system outage. Providers should transition to paper charts to continue care as best as possible. ChartGuard will generate the patient information needed to continue care. If it is determined that the power will not be resumed before the end of the business day, he or she may close the clinic. Generators which provide lighting and medication refrigeration can provide temporary electrical power to accomplish essential business functions. Water disruption. Specific reasons for a water disruption can include fire, severe weather, earthquake, electrical power outage, construction accident, or planned water outage. Some effects that a water disruption may have on the clinic are patient hygiene, staff hand washing, drinking at faucets, flushing toilets, and fire sprinkler systems. During a water disruption, plans should be made for the use of hand pumps to be used if decontamination needs to be postponed. For a temporary disruption of water services, 8 hours or less, water supply sources should be derived from 5-gallon commercially bottled waters placed throughout the clinic. Portable restrooms and hand wash sink stations will be provided in response to the clinic's needs. Essential functions for hygiene should be kept to a minimum. Departments can use substitute products for hygiene such as hand sanitizers, latex gloves, and antibacterial hand wipes. If the clinic's drinking water supply is contaminated or unavailable for extended periods, the Chief Medical Officer will determine whether the clinic should remain open. The most serious decision in the event of an internal flood is partial or full evacuation of the building. Usually during any internal flood, unless there is a direct threat to patients or employees in other areas of the building, only the affected area will be activated. If there is a direct threat to the safety of individuals in the area, then employees should initiate evacuation of the area immediately. During an internal flood, general evacuation procedure should be followed and activated. If there is no immediate danger, the extent of damage and threat will be assessed by clinic managers, and evacuation may eventually become necessary. If the decision to evacuate has been made, refer to evacuation procedures. Plan and procedure. Patient safety. Move patients from flooded areas to other locations within the facility as ordered by command staff. Clinics will transfer patients as needed. Clinics will cancel non-essential patient care services as determined by incident command staff. Incident command will contact contractors and agencies to assist in flooding issues. Incident command staff will provide regular updates and safety recommendations to staff, patients, and families as designed in the clinic evacuation plan. Resources will be requested as designed in the clinic evacuation plan. The facilities director will assess possible loss of water or pressure, power failure, loss of operations due to area or facility flooding. The clinic has equipment to address flooding of the grounds and measures to prevent water from flowing into the facility. Emergency response agencies will be notified if flood poses threat to clinical operations. Incident command staff will continue to assess the current threat and damage regularly and will initiate partial or full evacuation of departments and areas as necessary. Clinic managers should stay in close contact with incident command staff during an internal flood emergency to quickly respond when asked. The Department of Homeland Security recommends the run, hide, fight options for everyone in the U.S. The phrase is a quick way to remember what to do in an active shooter situation. In order: run. Getting away from the shooter or shooters is the top priority. Leave your things behind and run away. If safe to do so, warn others nearby. Call 911 when you are safe. Describe each shooter, their locations, and weapons. Hide. If you can't get away safely, find a place to hide. Get out of the shooter's view and stay very quiet. Silence your electronic devices and make sure they won't vibrate. Lock and block doors. Close blinds and turn off the lights. Don't hide in groups. Spread out along walls or hide separately to make it more difficult for the shooter. Try to communicate with the police silently through text messages or by putting a sign in an exterior window. Stay in place until law enforcement gives you the all clear. Fight. Your last resort when you are in immediate danger is to defend yourself. Commit to your actions and act aggressively to stop the shooter. Ambushing the shooter together with makeshift weapons such as chairs, fire extinguishers, scissors, and books can distract and disarm the shooter. No emergency plan can cover every intruder or active shooter scenario. The Run, Hide, Fight program helps you to rapidly analyze a situation and determine the best course of action.
When you walk into the office every morning, you never expect your day to be turned inside out by a freak event. Most workplaces have a plan for dealing with catastrophes like fires and extreme weather, but what about an active shooter? Today, we're talking about how to prepare for armed intruders and the 3 choices you have to protect yourself from harm. Run, hide, fight. So let's run through a simple scenario. A man walks into your workplace armed and looking for a specific person. If your building has effectively locked down its unmonitored entry points, like a back door or a loading area, the intruder will most likely enter through the front. Whoever has access to the phone system or a public announcement system should have a standard message ready to go for such an event.
There's a threat to your safety. Please seek shelter immediately. There's a threat to your safety. Please seek shelter immediately.
At this point, you have 3 options: run, hide, or fight. If you choose to run, you'll want to find the nearest exit and proceed with caution. Don't worry about rounding up your stuff. Leave it behind. Searching for your mobile phone or grabbing your bag could cost valuable seconds. If others around you choose not to run, you must leave them behind. Once you've made your decision to evacuate, you have little time to wait around for your coworkers. Stay on the lookout for others who may be unaware of the threat. Inform them of the danger and urge them to go with you as you escape to a safe area. Once you make it to the safe area, keep your hands visible and follow instructions from any law enforcement officers. Do not leave the safe area until they give you an all clear. If you choose to hide, you'll need to locate the closest door to you that locks. Maybe it's a storeroom or an office or a conference room. Once you enter the room, turn out the lights and lock the door. Blockade the door if possible. Turn off the ringer on your phone. If you have access to any social media accounts like Twitter or Facebook, silently post a message to your profile stating exactly where you are and any information you have about the incident. Authorities will be monitoring social media as soon as they are made aware of the intruder. As a last resort, and only when your life is in imminent danger, you may need to prepare to fight the intruder. Canvass the room for anything that can be used for a weapon. If the shooter enters the room, act as aggressively as possible towards them. Yell and create as much noise as you can. That way, your fellow coworkers, who are also hiding, and any law enforcement officers in the area know where the shooter is located. Just so you know, first responders' top priority is to eliminate any threats in the area. They won't stop to assist the injured or to rescue you before they can neutralize the shooter. When you encounter law enforcement, try to remain calm, following their every instruction, and keep your hands up and visible at all times. The key to surviving any workplace danger, let alone an active shooter event, is to have a plan and to practice that plan. Survey the area around your desk to locate the quickest place to exit and the closest rooms with locking doors. If your building has security, work with them periodically to hold an active shooter drill. Afterwards, everyone should get together to talk about what safety strategies worked best and ways your office could improve upon their response. Only you can judge the appropriate action to take if an armed intruder enters your office. You have 3 options: run, hide, fight.
Federal, state, and local emergency management experts and other official preparedness organizations all agree that drop, cover, and hold on is the appropriate action to reduce injury and death during earthquakes. During an earthquake, if you are inside a building, drop. Immediately drop to the ground where you are so the earthquake doesn't knock you around. Shaking can be so violent that you can't run or crawl, so drop to the floor. Take cover under a sturdy desk or table and hold onto it firmly. If you are not near a desk or table, drop to the floor against the interior wall and protect your head and neck with your arms. Cover. Cover your head and neck with your arms to protect yourself from falling debris. If you are in danger from falling objects and you can move safely, crawl for additional cover under a sturdy desk or table. If there's no shelter nearby, crawl away from windows, next to an interior wall. Try to stay away from glass, windows, outside doors, and anything that could fall, such as light fixtures or furniture. Hold on. The floor or the ground could jerk strongly sideways or out from under you. Hold on to any sturdy covering so you can move with it until the shaking stops. Stay where you are until the shaking stops. Do not run outside. Do not get in a doorway, as this does not provide protection from falling or falling objects, and you may not be able to remain standing. If you are outdoors when the shaking starts, move away from buildings, streetlights, and utility wires. Once in the open, drop, cover, and hold on. Stay there until the shaking stops. Trying to move during shaking puts you at risk. Earthquakes happen without any warning and may be so violent that you can't run or crawl. You'll most likely be knocked to the ground wherever you happen to be. So it is best to drop before the earthquake drops you, and find nearby shelter or use your arms and hands to protect your head and neck. Drop, cover, and hold on gives you the best overall chance of quickly protecting yourself during an earthquake. The greatest danger is from falling and flying objects. Studies of injuries and deaths caused by earthquakes over the last several decades show that you are much more likely to be injured by falling or falling objects, such as lamps, glass, and bookcases, than to die in a collapsed building. Drop, cover, and hold on will protect you from most of these injuries. If there is no furniture nearby, you can still reduce the chance of injury from falling objects by getting down next to an interior wall and covering your head and neck with your arms. After an earthquake, when the shaking stops, look around. If the building is damaged and there is a clear path to safety, leave the building and go to an open space away from damaged areas. Once it's safe, monitor local news reports via battery-operated radio, TV, social media, and cell phone text alerts for emergency information and instructions. Check for injuries and provide assistance if you have training. Assist with rescues if you can do so safely. If facility evacuation is necessary, leave the building quickly but in an orderly manner, following the company's emergency evacuation plan. Clinics have their established assembly locations outside of the building. It is important to gather in one location so that all employees and visitors can be accounted for after a building evacuation. The facilities director or his or her designee checks utility lines and appliances for damage. Only the facilities director or his or her designee or a representative of the power company can shut off any valves or circuits. If there is a gas leak, the facilities director will shut off the main gas valve. If there is damage to wiring, the facilities director will shut off electrical power. The facilities director will report damage to the appropriate utility companies and follow their instructions. No one should use matches, lighters, or open flame appliances until it is determined that no gas leaks exist. Electrical switches or appliances should not be operated if gas leaks are suspected. Sparks can ignite gas from broken lines.
This video shows you what you should do in different situations as soon as an earthquake happens. The best way to be safe is to drop, cover, and hold. As soon as you feel an earthquake, drop down to the floor. Earthquakes are totally unpredictable. It could be a big one, so get down on your hands and knees before you're thrown to the ground. This protects you from falling, but also allows you to move if necessary. The next thing to do is to take cover. Cover your head and neck and your entire body, if possible, under a sturdy table. If there's no shelter nearby, get down near an interior wall or next to low-lying furniture that won't fall on you. Protect the back of your head and neck with your arms and hands. The shaking of an earthquake will probably move things around, so hold on until the shaking stops. In a major earthquake, it's absolutely vital that people respond immediately. Confusion about what to do can result in people being seriously injured or killed. Do not run outside. Trying to run in an earthquake is dangerous as the ground is moving and you can easily fall or be injured by flying debris or glass. Running outside is especially dangerous as glass, bricks, or other building components may be falling. You're much safer to stay inside and shelter in a safe place. What about doorways? Just keep in mind that in many modern homes, doorways are no stronger than any other part of the structure and may not be a safe place to shelter. They may also have doors that could swing and injure you. Plan ahead for various scenarios. Look around you now. Identify safe places, such as under a sturdy piece of furniture or against an interior wall and away from windows and tall items that could fall on you. And that safe place should be no more than a few steps or less than 3 meters away to avoid injury from flying debris. An immediate move to the safe place can save lives. If you're inside a building, move no more than a few steps. Drop, cover, and hold. In most buildings in New Zealand, you're safer if you stay where you are until the shaking stops. Stay indoors until the earthquake is over and you're sure that it's safe to exit. If you're in an elevator, drop, cover, and hold. When the shaking stops, try and get out at the nearest floor if you can safely do so. You never know where you'll be when an earthquake happens. If you're outdoors when the shaking starts, move no more than a few steps away from buildings, trees, streetlights, and power lines, and then drop, cover, and hold. If there's nothing to cover under, drop down, protect the back of your head and neck with your hands, and hold that position till the shaking stops. In an earthquake, wherever you are, drop, cover, hold. It could save your life.
La Maestra is committed to safety and security programs designed to minimize the risk of incidents. An incident is an event that occurs involving an employee, patient, or member of the public that results in or could result in injury or financial loss or damage. An incident may include employee injury, theft, financial exploitation, medication error, abuse and neglect and/or suspected abuse or neglect. Any sentinel event, including an unexpected occurrence involving death or serious physical or psychological injury. Employees should report all incidents to their manager. An incident report form must be completed and signed by the employee involved. When an employee reports an injury to their manager, the manager should investigate the incident immediately and complete the incident report form. This should be sent to the Human Resources Department and Compliance Department within 24 hours. If the injury involves lost time, The Human Resources Department will complete appropriate forms and work in coordination with the manager of the employee to track the employee's status and implement the return to work or accommodated work plans if required. First aid injuries must be reported in writing on the incident report form. The purpose of the incident report is to document the exact details of the occurrence while they are fresh in the minds of those who witnessed the event. So if you are injured, it's important to report it to your supervisor immediately and fill out an incident report. You don't want to wait a week before filling out an incident report because they are time sensitive. Managers are responsible to ensure that their employees attend all required health and safety training sessions and work in collaboration with the compliance department to determine what training is required for each employee. The incident report is also our mechanism for patients to file a complaint when they perceive inappropriate care or unprofessional interactions related to departments. Directing the patient to complete the reporting form will help to process concerns in an efficient manner. The person with the most knowledge about the incident should complete the incident report. 1. Select the appropriate department and site of the incident. 2. List the information of the person reporting the incident. 3. Select the appropriate type of incident. 4. Enter the patient information. 5. List the provider information and staff member involved in the incident. 6. Include any witnesses, and on the second page, enter the details of the incident. Investigation is required when an incident occurs or near misses that could have resulted in a serious injury, critical injury, fatality, occupational illness, property damage, fire, or environmental release. The following investigation steps apply to all investigations. A. Assess the scene and document everything about the scene that seems important. This may include 1. Environmental conditions, condition of ground, weather if outside, lighting, wet floor signs present, or clinic conditions. 2. Hazards in area, electrical, mechanical, physical, chemical. 3. Hazards specific to affected individual, carrying heavy load, inappropriate action, medical condition, footwear. 4. Witnesses in area. B. Interviews. As quickly as possible after the incident, affected individuals and witnesses will be asked how the incident occurred. Ask the questions how, what, where, why, when, and who was involved. C. Determining what factors contributed to the incident. This may include wet conditions, faulty equipment, human error, lack of training, or fatigue. Incident reports are an important source of information for us because it helps collect data for certain trends or patterns that may need to be addressed. Incident reports can be used to educate, inform, and prevent the organization from experiencing the same adverse events. Copies can be obtained at the front desks of each clinic, on the intranet under Shared Documents, or reported to the Compliance Department at extension 3011. These reports are meant to be non-judgmental, factual reports of the problem, so these are highly encouraged. Staff may report compliance issues without fear of identification or retribution.